Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our culture unit, and we spent day one of our culture unit talking about rainbows, the science behind them, what colors are in a rainbow itself, and how you can best view it. You know, if you're viewing it from the ground up, you kind of see an arch shape, but if you're above that, if you're maybe somewhere high in the sky, you get to look down on rainbows, and you might be lucky enough to see kind of a circular shape. I haven't been that lucky yet, but I have seen one of the cool phenomenon that Tom was talking about, where there are two rainbows that you see together, but only in Taiwan. I've only seen it in Taiwan because we have so much rain here. We have lots of opportunities. It was in the summer, and it was a quick storm, and suddenly there were two rainbows, and I thought, oh, wow. Double fun is what I thought.
Exactly. But, of course, as we said, we talked about the scientific explanation for rainbows in our last program. Today, we're going to focus more on the cultural significance of rainbows. We touched on a few of them last time. To Christians, it used to be a sign from God that God wasn't going to cause any more floods. And there was also some meaning to Hindus and pre-Islamic cultures. And, of course, it had some meaning to the Romans and the Norse people as well. But today, of course, we're going to talk about some more contemporary interpretations of rainbows. Let's do that right now. Let's read through the entire contents of our lesson, and we'll be right back to discuss it.
The rainbow is a common feature in pop culture nowadays. One popular portrayal of the rainbow is the rainbow flag, also known as the pride flag. It is used to represent pride, diversity, and acceptance for the LGBTQ+ community. The flag, designed by Gilbert Baker, depicts a rainbow consisting of 6 horizontal stripes of color. Each color in the flag is significant and was assigned a distinct meaning. Before this flag, the most common symbol for the gay rights movement was the pink triangle. It was used by the Nazis to identify gay men. However, Baker did not wish to use a symbol with a dark and painful past. Instead, he opted to take inspiration from the rainbow. The flag made its debut at San Francisco's Gay Freedom Day Parade on June 25, 1978. Since then, it has been used extensively during pride parades around the world. Additionally, people wear items with the rainbow flag on them, such as rainbow pins and bracelets, to indicate that they are members of the LGBTQ+ community. Recently, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the rainbow emerged once again as a symbol of hope. During the initial lockdown in Italy, people began to hang pictures and banners of rainbows in their windows. When photos of these signs were shared online, the trend quickly spread to other countries. In the UK, the rainbow became a symbol of support and compassion for the doctors and hospital workers fighting against COVID-19. With its natural beauty and delightful array of color, it's no wonder that the rainbow is such a prominent symbol in many traditions.
We shall now explain the contents of today's lesson to you so that you can understand it better. And again, we're talking about rainbows. A rainbow is a symbol of hope, it's a symbol of freedom, and it's a symbol of lots of other things. And as we said, we're going to talk about some of the modern interpretations of the rainbow. So here in the first paragraph it says, the rainbow is a common feature in pop culture nowadays. Pop is just short for popular, is just short for popular. Popular culture, pop culture for short. And again, you see it around in different places. One popular portrayal of the rainbow is the rainbow flag, also known as the pride flag. So yes, indeed, when we think of the rainbow as a popular modern symbol, that's probably the first thing a lot of people think of. That's the gay pride flag or the pride flag, which represents people with different sexual orientations and identities and things like that.
So it's used to represent pride, diversity, diversity meaning different types of things and people, and acceptance, being accepted into society regardless of who you love and who you say you identify with. Some of those definitions and meanings constantly change, so you just have to stay aware of what's happening in the community. That's part of our culture now. We've got the flag, which was designed by Gilbert Baker. Actually, when I read this, Tom, I was very surprised how long the rainbow flag has been around. I didn't realize we'd had it so many years. So the designer, of course, was Gilbert Baker, and it says here he depicts, or the flag depicts a rainbow consisting of 6 horizontal stripes of color. When you depict something, it just means that's how you portray it. That's how it's seen. You could depict something by using art. You could show it. You could actually act something on stage and depict a character that way. But here we're talking, of course, about an artist who is telling you how they feel about something or how they want to show that thing by how they paint it, draw it, photograph it. There's so many ways to produce a piece of art that depicts something.
Yep, and this particular flag consists of 6 horizontal stripes of color. Horizontal just means going from left to right. The opposite is vertical, which means up and down. So yes, indeed, you have these horizontal stripes of color on this flag, and each color in the flag is significant and was assigned a distinct meaning. I don't know exactly what the individual colors signify or what they mean. You can look that up. But basically, yes, each stripe on the flag was assigned or given a distinct meaning. So here we've got the verb to assign, which means you attach meaning to something. It also means that you're given some kind of job to do. Your boss may assign you to doing some research for your new product or something like that, or your class teacher, your teacher in class may assign you to write an essay or give you an assignment. We oftentimes use the noun form there, an assignment. But in any case here, yes, each color was assigned a different meaning. And before this flag, the most common symbol for the gay rights movement was the pink triangle. I had not heard of that, but I guess that's the symbol they used before.
I hadn't known that either. I know that the star was used to signify whether someone was a Jew or not. Of course, back in World War II, that was a dangerous thing to be. You could be gay and put to death by the Nazis. Or if you were Jewish, you could be put to death by the Nazis. Or if they didn't like what you said, you could be put to death by the Nazis. Nazis aren't good people. They're still around today, unfortunately. So it was used long, long ago, this pink triangle. If you study history, you'll probably come across that. So Baker, knowing about the history of the pink triangle, didn't really want to continue associating with a really dark and painful past. I don't blame him. I would think, let's come up with something different that doesn't remind us of very sad times. So that's when he got to work at designing this new rainbow flag.
Exactly. So, yeah, he thought that, or at least other people thought that, well, let's not use the pink triangle. That can bring back painful memories for people who died in the extermination camps just because they were homosexual. So he opted to take inspiration from the rainbow. So here, opt, that just means he chose to do that. He made a choice, and there were several choices. So he saw the rainbow, and he thought, oh, wow, eureka, that's going to be the new symbol for the gay rights movement.
That's right. So he got busy and came up with this beautiful flag. Did we talk about the fact that the 6 colors are horizontal?
We did.
Okay. So horizontal goes across and vertical goes up and down. Don't get those backwards. So he wanted to come up with a new symbol, and he opted to take inspiration from the rainbow. We use that word opted quite a bit just to talk about a choice among lots of choices. So opt is just to make a choice. But when you opt out, you're saying, no thanks, I don't want to participate.
But here, opt just by itself without a preposition just means to choose something. And here it's the past tense. He opted, or he chose, to take inspiration From the rainbow.
Yeah.
Now, the flag made its debut at San Francisco's Gay Freedom Day Parade on June 25th, 1978. As you know, San Francisco has a large gay community, so it's no surprise that this parade took place in San Francisco way back in 1978, and this flag was seen for the first time in this parade. If something or someone makes its or their debut, it means they do it for the first time. I think in the southern United States, they have some kind of tradition where young girls, when they turn 15 or something like that, they will have a debut, a special party to celebrate her passing from childhood into adulthood. It's kind of like Mexican girls having the quinceañera, same sort of thing. I hadn't known about that until I went to New Orleans once.
Well, they do it a lot in the South in the U.S., but you also typically have to have money. Your family is typically in the, the higher classes that have a lot of money. But yeah, they debut, they come out and say, oh, I'm 16 and I'm now part of adult society. But yeah, we only do that in certain parts of America. It's primarily a rich Southern culture, I could say.
Exactly.
But the quinceañera is for a lot of girls in Mexico and other Spanish-speaking countries. Doesn't matter if you have money, you can all participate. Well, they did have their debut then. You can also have a debut product. If it comes to the market for the first time, that would be their debut car. Their car debuted for the first time. Debut is a weird word, guys, because it's French. I was recording something for a client long ago, and they said, oh, no, you said it wrong. It's debut. Or debut.
No.
And I went, no, actually, it's not. Yeah, it's debut because it's French. So we use it for someone who is maybe giving their first concert. They're showing their first, piece of art at some gallery. That's a debut. But you can also have a debut with a particular product that your company launched. So the model is expected to debut at $19,000. There are different ways to debut, but remember, it's French. Please do not say debut.
And we'll continue to talk about the cultural significance of the rainbow in just a couple of seconds, but right now we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是 Anna。我们昨天带大家看了一下彩虹到底是如何形成的，以及在文化上有哪一些意义。不过啊，在现在流行的文化当中，彩虹也有一些特殊的意义耶。例如我们知道多元性别团体，他们会用彩虹旗，也就是骄傲旗，来代表这个群体的骄傲、多元还有接纳。这就是我们第一段第二句当中看到的很关键。至少我们知道彩虹旗 The Rainbow Flag 或者又被称为骄傲旗 The Pride Flag 这件事情。那当然在第二句当中有一个被简化的一个关系子句，就是逗点之后的 also 一直到句尾的地方。那其实先行词就是 The Rainbow Flag， 它省略的就是 which 后面跟 be 动词 is， 它是一个简化的关系子句。那现在呢，这个旗帜啊，到底是由谁来设计？其实当时是由 Gilbert Baker 来所设计的。他描绘了6道彩色的水平条纹所组成的一个彩虹，而且每一种颜色都很重要，都有不同的意义哦。在第一段第4句当中，同样又看到了简化的关系子句。这个旗帜我们已经知道是这个彩虹旗，所以不需要限定是哪一个，给它一个插入性补充说明的关系子句。逗点之后省略了 which 跟过去式的 was， 因为设计已经在当时发生了，所以这个限定用法的非限定用法的关系子句呢，右括号就在 Baker 逗点之后。好，那么在这面旗帜问世之前啊，其实也有代表性的物品来代表这个同志权的运动，就是粉红色三角形。在第6句最后面的地方，我们看到 the pink triangle。通常在当时啊，是用纳粹啊，它被纳粹用来是识别男同性恋者的一个符号。不过因为 Baker 不想要使用一个有黑暗还有痛苦过往的符号，所以他就选择从彩虹当中去汲取灵感。在第一段最后面的2句话8跟9，我们看到第9句话的第一个字叫做 instead， 特别注意一下 这个转成词语的用法，我们通常会背它是相反的，可其实它不是相反的意思哦，它是强调某一个事情的精准事实如何。所以在 instead 这个副词语义当中，我们要从前跟后的子句来看。instead 前面我们看到一个否定的 Baker 不想要用这种代表黑暗跟痛苦过去的这种 symbol 这种象征，那他到底用了什么呢？我们在 instead 前面看到的句子是一种对事实很模糊的陈述。Baker 没有用粉红色的三角形来代表所谓的同志团体，那他到底要用什么？ instead 之后才点出精准的事实，他认为应该要从彩虹当中来截取灵感。所以 instead 如果你真的要去给他一个同义词的话，它其实等于 in fact， 事实上他去做了一个精准的什么事实。好，那这个旗帜彩虹旗被发明被设计出来之后，当时第一次的亮相就在1978年6月25号旧金山的同志骄傲自由日的大游行当中，这是出现在我们第二段第一句的地方。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue with our lesson. Again, we're talking about some meanings in pop culture of the rainbow. And we talked about the fact that the gay flag, or the pride flag, I should say, uses the colors of the rainbow. And this flag made its debut in the Gay Freedom Day Parade back in 1978 in San Francisco, California. Now, since that time, it has been used extensively during pride parades around the world. They have a pride parade here in Taiwan as well, and if you go attend that parade, or if you go check it out, you will see this flag there all over the place.
You will. So recently, as you all know, we had to suffer through the COVID-19 pandemic. Pandemic just means some sort of disease that is affecting either the whole country or the whole world. And of course, it affected the whole world, as you know. Well, back then, when it first was starting out in 2020, there were lockdowns in Italy first. I remember they locked down before anybody else did. That's when the rainbow emerged once again as a symbol of hope. So during the initial lockdown just means your government or authorities tell you cannot go anywhere you want to. Or they make certain places off limits where you cannot go. Or they say, you can't go visit your elderly parents in the hospital. I mean, there are different ways to do a lockdown. They had the initial lockdown in Italy, and people began to hang pictures and banners of rainbows in their windows. What's a banner, Tom?
Well, a banner, that's a guy who would turn into this big green monster when he got mad. Bruce Banner, maybe you know the character.
I think you're thinking of a superhero.
The Incredible Hulk, yes.
Yeah.
That's just a coincidence, though. Here, the word banner refers to, a piece of paper, a strip of cloth, and it will have some words written on it, a slogan or something like that. You'll see those here in Taiwan at, say, graduation ceremonies. They'll have a big red banner in the auditorium saying this is the graduation ceremony of the class of 2023 or something like that. You'll see a big banner with words on it. And indeed, we did see banners during the pandemic and pictures as well that had rainbows on them as a symbol to recognize the contribution that health workers made during the pandemic.
There are also a couple of other ways you can use this word banner. I was just outside my apartment, and next door is a store. I won't say what store it is. It's a drugstore that is featured in Hong Kong and here. We have both of them. But they will often have sales, and they'll put banners outside the store. So a banner can hang on kind of two posts. You can also have people holding it in a parade as you walk along in the parade. Also, if you're into internet work, I used to make banner ads. Those are the ads that would appear on top of a web page. And they used to not force you to have to listen before you could watch what you wanted to watch. A long time ago, when the internet was young, we just made these little harmless banner ads that you could look at, but it didn't stop you from doing anything else. Nowadays, they force you to listen to the ads, and then you have to click, skip ad in order to move forward if you're watching a video in particular. Those are banners. So we do use banners quite often.
And, of course, if there's a big news story, like, if some country invades another country and it's big news, then you'll have a banner headline, which is like the big headline in the newspaper saying this is a really big story. It's really important. We need to know about this. But in this particular case, we're talking about health workers during the pandemic, and people would put pictures and banners in their windows with rainbows on them to sort of honor their contribution. And when photos of these signs were shared online, the trend quickly spread to other countries. So it started in Italy, and of course, as you remember, Italy was one of the hot spots of COVID-19 when the pandemic started way back in 2020. And indeed, those were the health workers who started working really hard. So that's where this rainbow symbol kind of came from. And then the pandemic spread all over the place, and so the rainbows spread as well.
So let's talk about the UK. In the UK, or the United Kingdom, the rainbow became a symbol of support and compassion for the doctors, nurses, hospital workers that were busy fighting against COVID-19. They were working, it seemed, kind of round the clock at first. Compassion just means you have a lot of sympathy for someone else's suffering, some of the misfortunes that you're seeing that others are going through, and you try to help if you can. So compassion's very important. And there were a lot of people that were really, really trying to help these doctors and nurses, as they were working so hard. Some people were donating pizzas and foods to take to the hospitals to try to help them with their meals so they didn't have to, stop and cook or maybe even go out and try to find food. Yeah, there were a lot of people that did a lot of wonderful compassionate things. Compassionate is the adjective form of this noun, compassion.
Yeah, strong love for something, that's what compassion is, and you really feel for their suffering and their sacrifice. So indeed, we had a lot of compassion for the doctors and nurses and other health workers during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still going on, and those health workers are still working really hard. So indeed, we do have that rainbow as a symbol to recognize their sacrifice and their hard work. Before we wrap up this article, I should mention a couple of other things that we use to refer to rainbows, or at least something that rainbows signify. One is there's a tradition that says that you'll find a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
That's an Irish tale, yes.
Yes, right. So if you know where the end of the rainbow is, if you go there, then you'll find a pot of gold. Of course, as we said earlier, the rainbow moves as you try to get close to it, so you'll never find that pot of gold.
Besides the pot of gold, there's also a strange little character. He's a little guy, a little man called a leprechaun. So yeah, that's a wonderful old fairy tale kind of story from Ireland. So the rainbow is such a beautiful thing. I'm not surprised. It's been adopted and used by people to represent a lot of different things over time. So with its natural beauty and delightful array of color, array just means a range of different colors, it's no wonder that the rainbow is such a prominent symbol in many traditions. If something's prominent, it's clearly visible. It's something that's very important, very famous. If you say someone has a prominent nose, it means their nose is quite big. And so that's not so nice, but it's something that is clearly visible. Here we're just saying it's important and something that people don't want to forget.
Exactly. And of course, I did want to mention the song in the movie The Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Maybe you've heard that song before, as well as other songs that feature the word rainbow in them. Rainbows are very inspirational for lots of reasons.
Yes.
And that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's turn things over now to our Chinese English teacher.
而就从那个时候开始，所谓的彩虹旗在世界各地 的骄傲游行当中就广泛被使用了。在第二段第二句，因为我们看到 since then 打逗点，而 then 指的那个时候就是前一句话的1978年6月25号，所以看到 since 就知道从过去的某个时间点到现在，句子要用现在完成式，表示时间点到现在还发生，但是已经持续了一段时间。我们在后面看到的是逗点主词 it， 也就是这个彩虹旗，而动词是现在完成式 has been used， 表示被动。那么此外，大家就会佩戴一些有彩虹旗帜的物品啊，就可以表明他们是多元性别团体的成员。不过在第二段的第三句这个地方，特别注意在句子中间后面逗点之后的 indicate that， 这里的 that 跟到句尾的地方可以用中括号来表现。中括号的意思就是名词子句。如果你把它这个 that 当成冠带来看的话，就很奇怪了，因为冠带的前面通常都会有先行词，先行词怎么可能会是动词呢？先行词一定是个名词，人、事或者是物。我们再来可以从文意来判断 indicate something， 指出或者是点明某一件事情，就表示 that 在这里其实是一个无意义连接词的用法。好，接着我们看最后啦，在第三段就告诉我们，其实彩虹旗彩虹又再次成为一个希望的骄傲，是因为最近的这几年的新冠肺炎的疫情的关系。那么当时在意大利呢开始封锁的时候，意大利人就开始在窗户上悬挂彩虹的图片，还有彩虹的一些横幅。这些照片在网络上被分享的时候，这趋势很快的就蔓延到别的国家。例如在英国，彩虹就成为对抗新冠肺炎的医生还有工作人员对他们表达支持跟怜悯的一个象征。请特别注意一下第三段第四句，在这里有一个简化的关系子句。那么简化的关系子句先行词是比较后面一点的地方，在 the doctors and hospital workers。 fighting 是 who 或者是 that 冠带加上过去式它的简化，把冠带删除之后，动词直接变成动词 ing。 而最后面我们看到第五句有一个强调句型哦，强调句型请把 its 跟后面的 that 特别框起来。如果强调句型我们把这三个字遮住的时候，我们剩下的句子其实是完整的耶。剩下的句子是 No wonder the rainbow is such a prominent symbol in many traditions。 那我们现在要强调啊，难怪，终于知道这个原因了哦，不用怀疑，我们要强调这个副词，就把 no wonder 放在 its 跟 that 的中间。也就是说，强调句型其实它是插入在完整句子里面的。好，以上就是我们今天的内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And the next time it rains or the next time there's some fog outside, go outside and see if you can see a rainbow. I'm sure you'll be inspired and you'll realize that life isn't so bad after all. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.